What's going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. A little Lakers Talk Daily on this Tuesday. Lakers got the Grizzlies coming up across the street a little bit later tonight. So Lakers will try to make it 3 wins in a row, try to improve their record at home to 6-0. So they got some work to do. 6-0, 5-0. 6-0, 5-0. All right, I'll find out. I want to spend this video, to be honest with you, I didn't really want to talk too much about this game specifically. It would be 4-0. 4-0 so far. So they would be 5-0 if they win this game. The biggest question for me is just LeBron questionable and if he ends up playing or not. I think we're going to continue to say this. If the dude can't go, then it's all good, especially in matchups like this. I actually kind of like seeing some of the other players play. But one of the things I wanted to do in today's video is talk about a conversation that's kind of been going on some of the national networks. And basically, do the Lakers need a third star? Do they need a third star? Do they need somebody that after LeBron James, after Anthony Davis, you can look at and say, oh, yeah, that's definitely not just the third best player, but that's an all-star. That's somebody that is one of those alpha type of NBA players that can do some real damage. So the reason why this conversation's coming up is because Michael Wilbon on NBA Today, I want to read something, a conversation that they were having. He says, is there a bad team you want to go and say, okay, they're not in contention. They've got a potential third guy for the Lakers who will work in that complementary role, who's not going to challenge LeBron, who's going to be thrilled to be there with LeBron, because I got a guy, it's Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is 28 years old. He's averaging about 25 points a game so far this year in the early season. Actually, it's down to about 22, I think, when they originally did the article. 22 points a game. Zach LaVine is currently under a contract right now. It's a 5-year, $215 million contract. So keep that in mind because that's obviously a lot of dough. It's about 40 a year, something along those lines. 40, 43, 45. It goes all the way up to 48. I'm bringing this up because as we've watched the Lakers so far and we've seen this team play, I think there's times, we could sit and say, man, did Austin Reeves regress? Did he take a step back? He went from the starting lineup. Now he's coming off the bench. Can you really, really depend on D'Angelo Russell on a night in, night out basis? My answer would be no. And it's even more so on the other side come playoff time or even now, he's not closing out a lot of these games. That says something. Is Rui Hachimura going to be a player that you're like, oh, he's no question about it, the third best player in the Lakers? Okay, whatever the case is. What do you value more? Do you value more top-heavy or do you value more depth where you could have 10, 11 guys? Because there's a few people on here, and, Wilbon being one of them, that is at least floating the idea that, look, if the Bulls aren't doing good, where are they going? What are they doing in a couple of months from now? Maybe this is something that, obviously could be a potential for the Lakers. I'm going to read something from Brian Windhorst. He said on Zach LaVine, he's got a contract that is a little bit prohibitive. So the Bulls wouldn't say this. The Bulls right now would say, no, we're going to keep Zach. But the cost for him on the market might be too outrageous because you'd have to take on that contract too. So, Laker fans, basically what I'm throwing out to everybody here is, do you want to see the Lakers over the next month and a half, 2 months, be more aggressive of trying to get a real third all-star? Or do you think this plan that they have with the depth that they have is all they need to go out there and compete for an NBA championship? I'll tell you this, from my perspective, and I'm a fan of Zach LaVine's game, and, obviously it always depends on what you would give up for a guy like Zach LaVine. But as we sit here today, right now, date November 14th, and you ask me, do you want to have the depth that you have or do you want to go out there and try to get a third star? I don't think we know enough about this team yet to say, hey, let's go get Zach LaVine. By the way, you can't even make trades right now. The guys that the Lakers would be trading for, most of these guys wouldn't even be available. You can't even make trades till I think after December 15th. There might be some players, it might even be January 1st, but it's going to be, down the road from now. It's not something that'd be able to happen today or tomorrow. But can we see what we got? Can we see what this team looks like? Can we see where this team's going to be in the next 30 days? Can we have the entire roster healthy? Can we spend a little time first seeing what this Lakers team is, what Pelinka built in the offseason, 10, 11 guys that you can go deep? I was talking about yesterday, actually last night on Lakers Talk, that with Austin Reeves coming off the bench, your benches, Gabe Vincent, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Christian Wood, Cam Reddish, that's a really, really good five. Tell me another team that has that much depth. Maybe there is one, but at least for me, covering the Lakers, I don't think there is. But I also know there's a lot of Laker fans that think that, look, those dudes aren't going to get it done. When push comes to shove and you're in the playoffs, you need another player. If you can get your hands on a Zach LaVine, go get your hands on a Zach LaVine. All I'm saying is this. It's way too damn early to make that type of a decision right now of whether this Lakers team is going to be good enough to win an NBA championship. And do you want, if you're going to go out and spend $215 million, do you want it to be on Zach LaVine? I'm not crazy about that. I'm not crazy about that money going towards Zach LaVine. So there's certainly, it's an interesting conversation. It's an interesting dialogue. But for me, it's way too premature. And if I'm going out there and I'm trying to get another big-time player, I don't know if my money is going on Zach LaVine. I'd really like to survey the market and see if there's other players that, that I know that if LeBron at one day is done and you're putting that player with Anthony Davis, how dangerous can those two be together? I don't know if it's Zach LaVine and Anthony Davis would be the answer there. So, Laker fans, your thoughts here. I know this is kind of a different type of conversation, but I think it's an interesting topic. Feel free to put your comments below. Feel free to, obviously subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. But do the Lakers need a third star? Would you be in support of what Michael Wilbon is saying about the Lakers trying to go get a guy like Zach LaVine? Or do you want to see this thing play out and continue to have the depth that the Lakers have? $40 million means you're adding a lot of contracts together to go make that work. You're definitely D'Lo's in that mix. Definitely Rui's in that mix. That gets you around $35 million. You got to get, I think, there's a certain percentage point that you have to get within to go make that happen. All right, Lake fans, appreciate you guys tuning in. Please subscribe. We will chat with you guys tomorrow morning after the Lakers take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Lake Show handle business tonight against the Grizzlies. Thanks, Laker fans.